let it go. 52 times a year, the week is done and over with before you know.
Hello, good evening and welcome. Welcome all to episode 1 of a new series of That Was the Week That Was. It's been a bit of a wait because the original series was terminated after year 2 in 1963. I hope, however, it's been worth waiting for. And now onto the big news story this week. The sacking of Tory chairman Nazim Zahawi by Rishi Sunak because of errors in his tax affairs. The main one being he wasn't paying any. Nazim had decided to emulate Al Capone, which in terms of crooks is going straight to the top. However, Rishi was determined not to be left out and said his tax returns will be along in a minute. 31st of June is the deadline, Rishi, so that's £100 fine already. The question is, how long does it take Rishi, rather than Nazim, to cook his own books? This week, Noel Gallagher of Oasis and the High Flying Birds met a fan who took a selfie with him and posted it online. However, it turned out the fan was a criminal. Yes, that's Noel pictured with his high-flying jailbird. On Tuesday, a lonely pony wandered around Chertsey and ended up at the Three Horseshoes pub. The horse had apparently gone inside and asked if they had found the other one. By Wednesday, Captain Slow, James May, called for the speed limit to be reduced to 20 miles an hour as it's too fast. A new show, Bottom Gear, with presenters May, Clarkson and Hammond showing off the latest Zimmer frames, is in production. Whilst in the iNews, the IMF's UK economy warning prompted Liz Truss's allies to demand a new economic plan from Rishi Sunak. It looks like the PM's National Front coalition partners are wanting to take back control, just months after they gave away all the country's money. Mr Blobby is back in the news after 30 years, or rather his costume is. Unfortunately, the buyer of the costume backed out of a £62,000 eBay bid an hour after the sale closed. The owner of Mr Blobby said he was left feeling deflated. Whilst in Belfast, Irish road painters created a cycle lane measuring just 7 foot long, which left people baffled. The police later informed the press that it's for clowns with very small tricycles. On Wednesday, in actions reminiscent of the Titanic, a floating pirate-themed restaurant sank off the Thailand coast. The ship's cook was later reported missing, as, like all captains, he had gone down with the boat, and the rest of the kitchen staff had carried on playing their pots and pans and spoons all the way through the incident. Later that week, actor Alec Baldwin was formally charged with Helena Hutchinson's manslaughter after the shooting on the Rush set. We may soon be able to answer the burning question: can you finish a movie from inside a jail cell? On Thursday, Tory Minister Therese Coffey admitted the UK can't achieve the air pollution targets advised by experts. The real reason is, of course, the stinking fumes from Theresa Coffey's stogie. Later in the week, The Sun found something to interest itself. What the hell, it said. Sleepy Town revealed to have the most Satanists in the UK. And, as if by magic, cheese Baron Bigod, which is made in the town, was named Britain's best by the Fine Food Digest Awards. I wonder how that happened. Spooky. Last on Thursday, we had the unedifying experience of watching far-right libertarian Rotten Lydon showing that everything he and punk stood for back in 1976 was a pack of lies and nonsense. Johnny in the Eurovisions. I bet Vivienne Westwood is turning in a grave. Let's hope she doesn't rip her dress to shreds. So, poor old Mr Blobby is getting his head kicked in. Back in the day, British wrestlers were hard men made of steel. However, Mr Blobby has a head made of rubber and really enjoys getting it kicked in. A metaphor, if ever I heard one, for the Tory cabinet, who are also regularly getting their heads kicked in. Towards the end of the week, a top mafia hitman was arrested after 16 years on the run, posing as a pizza maker. If he wasn't topping his pizzas, prosecutors from the Italian government said he was topping you. However, if he would like to drop half a dozen pizzas to the judge's lodgings, they would be much appreciated. We also learned this week that privatised thugs, British Gas, were breaking into their customers' homes in order to put prepaid meters in. As Tom Jones was also in the news this week, I would just like to say, my, British Gas. Why, British Gas? So, before they come to break down the door, forgive me, British Gas, I just couldn't take any more. And now some foreign news. This week, a man sued a woman for £1.9 million after she refused to be his girlfriend. Unfortunately, Mr. Korshigan is not going to get any sympathy from That Was the Week That Was. He is from Singapore, so he should have known all about the Singapore sling he was about to get from his lady friend. Returning now to British Gas. Ofgem ignored 140,000 debt complaints before the British Gas scandal. The Tories claim they are breaking down barriers. So, is that why British Gas broke down the barriers represented by the customers' doors to fit their special payment meters? British Gas said they had lots of irons in the fire at the moment, and one or two customers' arms as well. Yes, the Gestapo have ways of making you pay. Now for some local news. There was a brawl outside Lewis Capaldi's Exeter gig this week, which saw a man's fingers bitten. Who could blame them? Come to think of it, I'd have bitten someone's hand off to see Lewis Capaldi as well. On a lighter note, circus performers tied the knot in Blackpool this week. The two circus artists were contortionists and managed to tie themselves in a knot whilst doing so. And finally, we learned that Kate and Meghan won't wear tiaras at King Charles's coronation, but instead will wear small crowns. Kate and Meghan said they didn't mind if they wore a tiara or a crown, as long as it was bigger than the massive crown that Camilla was going to wear. Question remains, who's got the biggest crown? I think that's William's bald head, don't you?
That was the week that was. It's over, let it go. 52 times a year, the week is done and over with before you know.